G'day Year 12, real quick lesson today, lesson 3. What lesson 3 does is it sort of cements what we looked at in lesson 1 and 2. It is a different syllabus dot point, however, but it is something we will definitely cover, but it won't take us that long. So our dot point today is the influence that continuity and change have on the development of society at the micro, meso and macro levels. So very general, very vague, and more of a, like I said, a recap of some of the stuff that we looked at in lesson 1 and 2. So make sure you highlight and date that, and we'll go to page 11 and get crack-a-lackin'. So to start off with, I've got a word bank on continuity and then a word bank on change, and I've broken it down into micro, meso and macro levels for change, because the reason I've done it for change and not continuity is because with change the syllabus and all your HSC questions tend to lean a lot more towards change than they do continuity, and that and my follow-up questions here are listing micro, meso and macro continuities that shape society. So once you've completed that word bank, what I want you to do is list one micro, meso and macro continuity that has shaped society. So for each I want you to explain how and why. So for example, what's one macro continuity that shapes society? You might talk about the government. Okay, that's something that's been around forever. How does that shape society? It sets laws and regulates what we can and can't do. Okay, there's one example for macro. What's one in the micro? Think about your social institution. What were you raised by? A word starting with F. Maybe meso, you could think of a word starting with S as well. So some quick ideas there for you. With change, I've broken it up into micro, meso and macro again, because that's the core focus of our syllabus here, in this topic at least. What I want you to do with this question is list 3 macro level changes that have influenced the development of society, and I want you to explain again how and why for each. So one of these is obviously probably going to be the COVID-19 pandemic response. So putting what that is there and then briefly telling us how it is influence the development of society, and then I want you to try and list 2 more. We talked about some in the last 2 lessons, so it should be pretty good to do. If you're not sure, you can maybe look at some transformative change examples up there to help you. Finally, for this lesson, what I would like you to do is highlight this idea that change is constant and that change is inevitable. There is nothing anyone can do to stop change from occurring. It's something that will always occur, whether it happens fast, slow, evolutionary or transformative. Depends on a number of factors, but the point being that everything has experienced change at some point. So what I want us to do is apply the concept of continuity and change on each of our fundamental and additional course concepts, most of them. I didn't include all of them, so for example, I haven't put in time, globalization or identity here, but I've certainly put in ones that I think are really relevant to continuity and change. So what you can do here is write the word continuity. What's one continuity to do with the concepts of person, and then what's one change to do with the concept of person. So these can be very hypothetical examples, or they can be very specific examples. Okay, so for example, if we were to look at gender, we could look at the continuity of the male and female construct of gender persisting throughout time, but then we can also look at the changing nature of gender over time as well. So that's the kind of thing I want you to be looking at there. So do that for each concept. If you get stuck, the first thing to do is check with your peers and see what they've done, and I'm sure once you bounce off each other you'll be able to fill that out. If after that point you get stuck, come and let me know, more than happy to help. But yes, so one example of continuity, one example of change for each of those, and that's this lesson done.